Shana Tova. Gemar Chatima Tova. Welcome to Theater for the New City. Let's start with the lighting of the candles. I'd like to invite Lori Robinson, Matthew, and Naomi Passer for the lighting of the candles. Naomi, Lori, and Matt are going to do the actual lighting, and the blessing will be chanted from the Zoom sphere by Holly and Nancy. Holly, Nancy, are you guys ready? I think you're still muted. There we go. Yes. Go ahead. Yeah. Nancy, Holly, whenever you're ready, you can chant the blessing. Amen. Amen. Please rise for the Kol Nidre. In your handouts, there's some words that you can repeat. Zoom folks, I believe you have these shared with you. But at least the beginning of them, you can simply just repeat what you hear as well. Misha. Oh, zaru al tzadik, uleish lev simcha.
Oh, zaru al tzadik.
Light is planted for the just, and happiness for honest hearts.
Light is planted for the just, and happiness for honest hearts.
B'yeshiva shel ma'ala ובישיבה של מטה, על דעת המקום ועל דעת הקהל, אנו מתירים להתפלל עם העבריינים. In the house of learning up there, and in the house of learning down here, with the mind of the ever-present, and with the mind of this community, we declare it okay to pray with our fellow sinners. I'd like to invite Beverly Israeli to hold the Torah and Eli Gordon to open the ark. Kol Nidre Vesarei Vecharamei Vekunamei Vechinuyei Vekinusei Ushevu Dindarna Udeishtebana Udiacharimna Udiasarna Al nafshatana Miyom Kippurim ze Ad Yom Kippurim Haba בחולון איחרתנה בהון כול הון יהון שרן שוויקין שוויקין שוויתין שוויתין בטלין ומבוטלין לשרירין ולקיימים נדרי ושרנה לה אסרי או שבועתנה לשבוע
Shevikin, Shevikin, Shevikin. למעלין, לשרירין ולקיימים.
Shared with you online, there's a translation of what we just read. I'd like us all to read it together. It's on page 2 of this handout, where it says all the promises in English. Here we go. All the promises
and the vows and the commitments and the things we swore to ourselves that we would do this past year and that we would not do this past year are hereby annulled. All the vows and the obligations and the commitments and the things we will swear to ourselves that we will do this coming year and what we will not do this year are hereby annulled, scrapped, wiped out, deleted. They don't exist. They are nothing. We are liberated from them all. We are, in this moment, free.
Page 249 in the Machzorim. And Jack, where are we in the virtual Machzor?
Page 1 in the virtual Machzor. So that's not right. We don't have that page in it. Maybe it's not there.
Maybe we don't have it. That's okay. ונסלח לכל הדת בני ישראל ולגר הגר בתוכם כי לכל העם בשגגה. Forgive the wrongdoings of this people and all who dwell in their midst, according to the greatness of your covenantal love. For in all of us, your people, is their unwitting transgression. And Adonai has said, I have forgiven as you have asked. Let's say the Shechianu together. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam shehechianu v'kiyemanu v'higiyanu lazman hazeh. Amen. We can put the Torah back. Please be seated. A couple notes before we continue. If there are any parents with jumpy kids here, or just jumpy kids without parents, over there's Michal. Michal saying hi. She is happy to hang with your kids out that way. Yeah? So that's Michal over there. And beyond that, before we continue, I'd like to invite Rob Milam to say a few words. Rob? There he is.
I don't know if we changed the timing this year. I feel like I'm on a little bit early.
You are. Earlier than last year.
We just barely got here. My kids are great, but boy, it was like a struggle getting across town, so we're really happy to be here. Usually the warm-up act gets everybody like ready, so I hope you guys are in the giving spirit. That's great. We're going to ask Rob to say a few words. What do you think I'm going to say? Any guesses? Shana Tova, yeah, that's one thing. Also, this is the part, I'm the treasurer. You might remember we did this last year. This is where I'm going to ask you to give, not me, give a lot of money. This is the important part. That's why I'm here. Made it all the way across town. Almost got assaulted getting a parking space, but we did it. This is New York. We're back. This is what we do around here, right? So listen, I think you might remember I did this last year. I think I made some mistakes, so we're going to try to do a little bit better. First of all, everybody in the room, you guys have your cards? Everybody's got one this year, right? So I think I talked about last year, and then I threw it away, gave a speech, forgot to ask everybody to really do the important part. So if you're feeling up to it, the numbers on the bottom. Where's the camera? You guys are over there, right? So in the Zoom, we're going to put it on some links. But if you're feeling in a good mood, you can just pick one of the numbers maybe over on the left and just fold it up before you forget, just to start. If you like where we're going, you can always up the ante a little bit. And I'll tell you, I'll make anybody a deal. If you don't like where we're going, if you pick one of the big numbers on the right, and a couple of you do that, then we can just stop and just move on with the rest of the night. I'm easy to please. It's not so hard. All right, so look. That's one. So another thing, tzedakah. I think I made it confusing last year. Do you want to do a lesson on tzedakah? I'll try one. So tzedakah, right? Tzedakah, justice. Tzedakah, righteousness, charity. I think as I've studied this in lightly, you probably have a lot more to say. Am I doing okay so far?
Great.
Okay, good.
You're awesome, Rob.
Awesome so far. We as Jews have an ethical obligation to charity. Aiding, giving assistance to the poor, to the needy. It feels like the last couple of years there's always a need for that. It feels maybe more close to home for all of us. So what we're going to do this year, we're going to give 5% off the top on whatever y'all give us tonight, straight to the New York Coalition of the Homeless. Like last year we were talking about 10% if you wanted to, and this, and I just 5%. If you want to give more, we'll send you a link for that too. They would love to have also more money. It is a wonderful cause. So that's number one. So I think I'm good, right? So tzedakah's clear, right? Pledge cards, clear. Okay, links in the Zoom. You guys can click those whenever you want. You just go for it. Throw it up on the other screen so you don't forget later, like that web browser's open. You got to shove some money in there. That's number 3. So good instructions, okay? Now, who was here last year? Well, not here, but everybody in the tent? It's a decent amount. So I was told that the speech was pretty good. You guys thought so? Yeah. Should we just do it again for the people who weren't here? Is he kidding? I'm not sure. I don't know if I want to sit through all that again. All right, but let's just maybe do Cliff Notes, because people thought it was a good speech. I thought it was good, poured my heart into it, and got a little verklempt at the end, all the meaning. So here we go, ready? Once there was a Jew, he grew up in the land without Jews, came to the land with Jews, known as the East Coast, not Israel, but the other place where all the Jews are. Met some Jews, met a rabbi, met a lovely woman, got married, had some kids, joined the new Shul, I'm the treasurer, the end. How do you like it? Okay, how's that? Okay, good. I think I had a little more last year, but I just want to keep the program moving. So, look, my mom was on Zoom. She's actually with my sister, so we're making a lot of progress year over year. A lot of us are together. We're inside. I haven't been inside in like a big crowd in a while, so thank you, everybody, for being here tonight and for testing your kids and for getting vaccinated and wearing your mask. And we're like, maybe next year in Israel? Yeah. Jerusalem. So, I need a rabbi always to help me on these things. But I have to tell you, as good as I felt about the speech, and my Jewish mother, I'm not a dentist or a doctor or a lawyer, I'm a finance guy, it's okay, it's not what they all wanted, right? But when I did the math, it wasn't a good speech. You guys weren't feeling the speech. I need you to feel the speech. We need the donations for the Shul so we can do this, we can be together, we have this incredible, what's the name of the band? It's always the musicians. Do you have a name for the band? Like, the new Shul band, the new band.
The new band is good, yeah.
We need
the new band. We need a name for the band. Okay? If you give a big donation, we'll let you name the band. Naming rights, it always goes over well. Anybody feel like any more places you can fold them? I just want to remind you. Okay, but look, the other thing I was thinking about is, if you didn't like the jokes, we could do it filibuster style. Can I borrow that book for a second? So I was raised a little bit more of a conservative, somewhere between conservative and reform. And as a child, and I tell my children, I'm like, you guys have no idea how lucky you are, like the music and the songs and what a beautiful ceremony this is, because we pretty much just read the book. And I count pages all day long. Of course, I wasn't fasting. 19 pages to go, 14 pages to go. If you don't give enough money, I'm just going to start reading. And about 3 hours from now, I'm going to collect the cars off your passed out bodies and put in whatever numbers I want. Okay, I'm just kidding. Where are my daughters? I need help. At least the twins, right? It's okay.
Daughter.
Well, I've got 3. I've got 2 volunteers. In baseball, that means I'm doing pretty well. Okay, so look, I'm gonna go completely mean and dirty and terrible. Girls. Give them the puppy dog eyes. Can you do it? Yeah, you can.
Do you need a mic?
No, she's gonna take a mask.
cute. You guys feel guilty yet? Show us some money. Okay, thanks, girls. Great job. Hey, where's the camera? Over here? Go give him his close-up. Give him puppy dog eyes on the camera over there. Go walk over to it. So we're going to see you right on the screen. We don't want our virtual attendees to feel like they've missed out on something special, so. I hope you guys see that. Yay. Thanks, girls. To my delightful twins, Ashlyn and Nalini. My other daughter, Rhea, is sitting here as well, so we're thrilled to be here, all five of us, my wife, Shamli. Look, I try to always keep this a little bit light, but we are the new Shul. We are the little Shul that could. Every year since before I joined, 1 year at a time, this community has kept itself together. Susan gave a great appeal for membership. We'd love it if everybody who's here who's not a member, please consider joining. I'll knock a little off your tab for you if you want. We'll make a deal. If you are a member, please reach into your pockets. We're not doing tithing. We're not asking for 10% of what you make. But we would ask you to make it hurt a little bit, because what you're doing is you're helping, and the programming and the rabbi and the music and the venue, the tickets also help cover that, obviously, and our lovely executive director, Susan, and the staff, and all of this that we share together. Look, it is what it is. It's not free, and we need everybody's help, and we're going to do it again. And I'll think of some new jokes for next year if you help me out this year, I promise. Thank you. Shantava.
Tough act to follow.
Right. He's a treasure and a stand-up comedian. Before we get into the Baruch Hu, just a couple things that I'd like to say by way of welcome. First of all, this place, Theater for the New City, is a very special place with a special history. It's been about 50 years that they've been doing plays here, especially of younger writers, and these plays often take on a political connotation. I've seen the first time I was ever in here was in Bread and Puppet, participating in a Bread and Puppet show. There's a connection between this place and the new Shul. We're really working to define this triangle that you guys may have heard of a little bit last year during Kuma: religion, art, and politics. This place is a little bit of that, and we really look to embody all those three pieces together. So welcome to Theater for the New City. I also want to say one thing before we go back to our davening about the set that you guys are sitting, that you guys are a part of. If you were here last week at Rosh Hashanah, you may have heard that this is meant to bring to mind Jerusalem, the rebuilt Jerusalem. I'm putting it in quotes, rebuilt, because rebuilt was not exactly accurate. We spent some time, we have all these chevrutas in the shul, these learning pods, which I invite you to join. They're quite extraordinary. One of them was on the book of Nehemiah. And it describes the return to Jerusalem, the return to Zion from the exile in Persia and Babylon. And last week I spoke a little bit about how now we're coming back. We seem to be in the midst of some type of return, even though it's clunky and weird. And we're all sitting here with our masks, and we weren't sure until about an hour before the service if we're actually going to go ahead. But the return to Zion that Nehemiah and those folks experienced was also kind of clunky. And you'll hear a little bit more about it tomorrow as well during the Torah reading. But you see here these kind of broken columns. You see some yellow flowers among the white. And you also see this beautiful cloth behind me that's got some blue behind the white, which is meant to denote the gate of water. Why don't you guys just say gate of water? Gate of water. That's the gate in front of which, it was a gate to the temple, in front of which all of the Jews of Jerusalem gathered in the year 445 BC to sign a pact, Nehemiah's covenant, in which they recommitted themselves to everything important, to Torah, to community. So that's, I think, another way to talk about what Rob was saying. That's what we're here to do. And we're going to think a little bit about what we might, if we were to sign a pact today, what would be in that pact? What would we put in there? Yeah. I'm also noticing the girls over here. You guys see this loom over here? Yes. Hi, girls. You're doing great. Suzanne Tick, who's there with the Milam girls, is an artist who works with cloth. And that loom over there is a prayer. It's a collective prayer of all of us. We've asked you to bring in pieces of fabric to put onto this loom that represents something, or maybe to write a word or a prayer onto them. Whenever you'd like, during this evening, as well as tomorrow and tomorrow evening, feel free to get up from your seat and go over there. There's all kinds of cloths to attach to it, and it's a very simple little, fun little meditative action. So feel free to jump over there and add your own bit to our collective prayer. Please rise for the Bochu.
We're on page 252 and page 6 in the online Machzor.
Yai, nai, 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 yai, nai, nai, yai.
Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bidvaro ma'ariv ha'aravim. El chai v'kayam, tamid yimloch aleinu l'olam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai, ha'ma'avir ha'aravim. Avat olam, Beit Yisrael,
254.
v'nismach b'divrei Toratcha. Ki hem chayenu v'yorech yameinu v'hem negei yomam v'alayla v'ahavatcha al tasir mimenu le'olamim Baruch atah Adonai ohev amo Yisrael.
Amen. Page 256. I invite you to close your eyes for the Shema. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. We say say the next words together, this is the one time we say them out loud this year. Baruch Shem Kevod, say them with me. Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Le'olam Va'ed. ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך וקשרתם לאות על ידיך והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך שמוע. Page 261, Michamocha. This is a prayer for freedom, a prayer that our ancestors sang when they were free for the first time, after they crossed the Red Sea. Page 262. Or page 9. Thanks. In the virtual Machzor, Hashkivenu. Lie us down, Adonai Eloheinu, for peace, and stand us up, our ruler, for life, and spread over us the shelter of your peace.
Hashkivenu, Adonai Eloheinu, Shalom Yamidenu, Malkeinu L'chaim. Ufros aleinu sukat shalomecha Baruch ata Adonai hapore sukat shalom aleinu ve'al kol amo Yisrael ve'al Yerushalayim. Amen. Please rise. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah.
Amen.
V'yalma divra kirutei v'yamlich malchutei v'chayechonu yomechon uv'chaye techol beit Yisrael Bagala Ubizman Kariv V'yimaru Amen Yehi Shmei Rabba Mevorach Le'olam ol me'omaya Yitbarach V'yishtabach V'yitbar V'yitromam V'yitnaseh V'yitadar V'yitaleh V'yitalal Shmei D'Kudashah B'richu Leila Leila Mikol Bechata V'shirata Tush Bechata V'nechemata Damiran V'yama V'yimeru Amen.
We're going into the Amidah, which is our moment of silent reflection. We have a few different options for you. You can stand silently and meditate. You can read in English on pages 270 to 277, or in Hebrew, it starts on 156 in the blue machzor and continues until 171. At which point you'll see this in the machzor if you're doing the traditional Amidah. Then it skips for the vidui. There's an important part of this particular Amidah, which is called the vidui, the confession. That continues on page 230 until 238. And in the virtual machzor, it's from page 10 to page 17. I'll remind you of one thing I said last year before we did the Amidah, which is that all we really need in order for this prayer to count for us is one word of truth, one word that we actually say honestly. Amidah. Adonai sfatai tiftach ufi yagid tehilatecha. We pray silently.
עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל ועל כל יושבי תבל, ואמרו
Please be seated. The way the service is, the way we put together the service, Jack and I, this is Jack Klebenow. You'll meet him shortly when he tries to get you all singing together. The way we put the service together was we let everybody pray silently the Amidah, and then after that, once I'm done speaking a little bit and we hear another unrelated song or very related song, you guys can decide later, then we're going to repeat some of the things that we did, the Chazara. So you'll see us going over some of those same songs. So earlier this summer, maybe a month or more ago, we had some COVID in our house. Our kids, two of them, got COVID. They tested positive for COVID. And it was, as you can imagine, a kind of trying moment for Erica and me, and for the boys, Ezzy and Manu. But there was an interesting kind of progression to how this thing went down. They're fine, and they were sick for a couple days, and then it was finished. They had symptoms, but we all had to quarantine, and as I'm sure most of the people in this room have probably had to quarantine at some point. The quarantine and all of that jazz didn't really bug us at the beginning. At the beginning, while they were actually sick, we didn't care about any of that stuff really. We were focused on the kids. And then something happened, which was they got better, And then, as Erica puts it, we seamlessly transitioned from gratitude to self-pity. Yes. Yeah. So, this was kind of a familiar thing to me, actually, and probably familiar to you, and it reminded me of a conversation that I had many, many times over the last year with many different people, probably with a bunch of you. I've written it into a very quick little 2-line docu-play. Here's how it goes. Hi, how are you? I'm just grateful that I'm healthy, everyone's healthy. Pause. Things are really hard. Right? Have you guys had that conversation? Raise your hand if you've answered in that kind of similar vein. Yeah. So to me, this was very interesting because all kinds of people, including people who I had never in my life heard talk about divinity of any form, suddenly were saying Baruch Hashem, thank God, Alhamdulillah. People were speaking gratitude, and there may be some things that they were kind of hiding behind. There's all kinds of reasons why we said that, but the fact that we said it, I think, is really significant. The fact that gratitude was there on all of our lips, that's not nothing. Gratitude, gratitude is, it's kind of hard to come by a real feeling of gratitude. And the words that we say actually create reality. They do, I think. Gratitude can be an energizing force, I think. Living over the past year, it's been a different year than previous years, and there's certain lessons that we've learned, I think. And today I want to talk about one of these lessons that the Jewish tradition, really focuses on. And I think we have something to learn from that. What I'm talking about is living with the presence of death. We were living with the presence of death. I mean, before last Yom Kippur, it was even more, I think, fresh in our minds. We were all used to hearing the ambulances and everything all the time. But I think this continued. And many of us, we have different people have in this room included. Different people have different relationships and different levels of intimacy with death. And so, what I'm going to say is going to be different for each of you. But for all of us, living with that presence, I think, can teach us certain things. It can give us sometimes, when we remain mindful of death, right? We call this year the year of mindful return. When we remain mindful of death, sometimes it can focus us on gratitude. It can give us yir'ah. Yir'ah. I was experiencing this earlier today. You guys know the word yir'ah? No? Try saying yir'ah. Yir'ah is normally understood and translated as the fear of God. But the truth is that yir'ah is not just fear. Yir'ah is also love. It combines fear and love. I think we experience something like that. Talking about death is not, it's not, and its presence in our lives, it's not an easy conversation. I've had a few recently with Manu, my 4-year-old. He's got questions about it, and it's always you don't know exactly what to say about it. But personally, I feel really good that he's asking. I think it's good. I think we actually don't talk enough about it in our society, and we stand to gain. So this notion of living with the presence of death is expressed in our tradition over and over and over again. And I'll give you just a couple examples, but the first one that comes to mind is, what we're doing right now, right? Yom Kippur. Yom Kippur is the day, we come in touch with our mortality. We say things like, Me anu, me chayenu, ma kochenu. What are we? What is our lives? What is our strength? We're really, we don't eat, we don't drink. And then there's one thing that we do, and we even asked you to come to this service wearing white. And you guys know why we wear white? So some folks are nodding. There's a bunch of different reasons, but the reason that is in my mind, especially this year, is these white garments that we are wearing are the shrouds that we will wear when we die. That's what we're wearing. We're dressing up as ourselves when we die. Which I don't know, especially to the younger folks in this room, this may seem a bit freaky. It may. I mean, it is kind of freaky, and but I don't think it's actually so freaky. I think it's healthy. I think it's a nice tradition. This holiday actually it used to be a happy holiday. Another reason why we wear white is because long ago there were women in Jerusalem who on Yom Kippur would wear white when they would go out to celebrate Yom Kippur. Right? We're celebrating being forgiven. This is the day, according to the tradition, the day that we were that God forgave us for the golden calf. So we're forgiven. We're forgiven. It's a reason for celebration, a cause for celebration. Every morning when we wake up, we also say something that relates to death. We say, Modeh ani lefanecha. Yeah, say those words with me. Modeh ani lefanecha. Shehechezarta bi nishmati. Let's try that. Shehechezarta bi nishmati. I give thanks to you for returning my soul to me, returning my spirit to me. Sleep in the Talmud is 1/60th of death. Yeah, it's 1/60th. So we're a little bit dead, right? We're mostly dead. But then in the morning, what do? We wake up. We say, "Oh, we're alive. Thank you, thank you." Once we're done with that, we get to prayer services, and then pretty quickly we're at the Mourner's Kadesh. The Mourner's Kadesh. I've found myself at many different occasions telling people that no Jewish prayer service is complete without the Mourner's Kadesh. And I find this to be an extraordinary fact. Why is that? Why do we need to keep saying the Mourner's Kadesh? Why do we have to keep thinking about our dead? Why? To me, there's some kind of reciprocity going on. It's a reciprocal relationship between us and our dead. There's something that goes in both directions. We keep them in life, and they keep us with death. Or another way to say this is they keep us grateful. They remind us where we come from. But they don't only remind us where we come from, because we know that we are different than those who died. We know that there are differences between their paths and our paths. They remind us that we are the living ones, and we are tasked with making our own path while we are here. Ecclesiastes has this incredible line that tells us what we are going to be judged for when we die. What are we going to be judged for? What are we going to be judged? What are we being judged for right now? Right? And we're used to talking about it in the context of sin and the scales, all those things. But listen to this. שמח בחור בילדותך, ויטיבך לבך בימי בחורותיך, והלך בדרכי ליבך, ובמראה עיניך, ודע כי על כל אלה יביאך האלוהים במשפט. Be happy, kid, in your childhood, and let your heart bring you goodness as you grow older. Walk in the ways of your heart and follow what your eyes show you. And know that these are the things for which you will be judged. We are going to be judged not for the bad things that we did, but for how we lived. That's what this verse tells us. This is from King Solomon, considered the wisest Jew to ever Jew. We'll be judged for what we did with our window of opportunity, for following our hearts, for being present to what we see and experience. That's what we're being judged for. This version of judgment might allow us, if we remove some of these punishment layers, and we look at it that way, it might allow us to actually fulfill the following verse. I'll read you the following verse. והסר כעס מלבך והעבר רעה מבשרך. Remove anger from your heart and let what's making you feel bad pass on. Our myriad of discontents and anxieties and disappointments and failures and annoyances and problems, these are products of our limitedness. This is where we are limited. And death, in a strange way, points us towards the limitless. It's funny that way. Living with it can possibly remove some of our inhibitions about what we really want to be doing with our lives. Today we're being judged for how well we've managed to live, for what we are doing with our window between before and after, between where we've come from and where we are going. What I'm trying to say is that we are incredibly lucky to be alive, and that we can possibly use our time for good. So, this brings me to our composition of the evening, which I asked Frank London to compose for a piece from the Mishnah that talks about some of these things. And Frank very generously obliged, and we're going to hear this song and hopefully sing along with it. Okay? But I thought I would tell you a little bit about this. Here's what it sounds like, if I can recall it properly. Akavia ben Mahalalel said, "Observe 3 things, and you will not be led astray off the right path." 3 things. We got to observe 3 things. Number 1, da me'ain bata. Da me'ain bata. Try that. Da me'ain bata. which means know where you came from. Number 2, ule'an ata holech. Try that. Ule'an ata holech, which means, and where you're heading. Know where you came from and where you're heading to. 3, velifnei mi ata omed liten din vecheshbon. That's a bit long, so we won't repeat it. Which means, and in front of whom will we one day give a report, an accounting. And then he answers, and you may have already found his answers because they're in your handout. This whole thing is in your handout. But these are his answers. Yeah, there's something macabre about the guy, which I like, and Frank too. These are his answers. Yeah, where have you come from? From a stinking droplet. That's where we came from, people. It is. I mean, we came from, and it's a miracle, right? It's like we came from a stinking droplet. That's the truth. And where are we heading? To the place of dust and worms and maggots. That's the truth. That's where we're heading. And in front of whom will we one day give this accounting? Melech Malchei Amlachim. Try saying that. Melech Malchei Amlachim. And you can also say Hakadosh Baruch Hu. Hakadosh Baruch Hu. In front of the King of Kings or the Queen of Queens, the Holy One, blessed be she. That's what we got. And I think the guy's onto something. And I think if we can go back into this year holding on to some of this, then we'll make that transition from gratitude to self-pity a little bit. At least it'll be a little bit longer. There'll be some nuance in it. But let's try and stick with it. So I'm gonna pass it on to Yonatan and ask you guys to open the booklet. Where is it in that little booklet?
Page 3. Page 3. Tom, you got me? Yeah.
Dame ein Batan.
Hey.
דע מאין באת ולאן אתה הולך ולפני מי אתה עתיד ליתן דין וחשבון.
Know from where you have come and to where you are going, and before whom one day you'll stand destined to give an accounting.
דע מאין באת ולאן אתה הולך ולפני מי אתה עתיד ליתן דין וחשבון.
Know from where you have come and to where you are going, and before whom one day you'll stand destined to give an accounting.
מאין באת
From where have you come?
מטיפה סרוחה
From a putrid little droplet.
ולאן אתה הולך
And to where are you bound?
במקום עפר אימה ותולע
To a place of dust and worms and maggots.
ולפני מי אתה עתיד ליתן דין וחשבון.
And before whom one day you'll stand, destined to give an accounting.
לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא.
Before the King of Kings, the Holy One, blessed be.
לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא.
Before the Queen of Queens, the Holy One, blessed be she. And before whom one day you'll stand, destined to give an accounting.
לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא. לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא. לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא. לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא.
מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא. לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא.
Please rise. Thanks, Frank. Thank you to all of you musicians. That's Frank London. That's Aaron. There's Judy Williams, who sang the Kol Nidre with me, and we'll get her again soon. There's Jack Klebanow and Jonathan and Mirandi. Thank you all for being here. I'd like to invite the rest of the Brooklyn Gordons to come and open the ark for us. And we're going to sing another happy tune. Yeah, come on over and open it up. Yeah, go for it. We're on page 18 in the virtual Machzor.
And page 278 in the blue Machzor.
Anu Amecha, we are your people, and you are our parent. That's what we have to say today.
חלקנו אנו נחלתך ואתה גורלנו אנו צונך ואתה רוענו אנו כרמך ואתה נוטרנו אנו פרדך ואתה יוצרנו אנו ידך ואתה דודנו אנו סגולתך ואתה אלוהינו אנו עמך ואתה מלכנו אנו מאמרך ואתה מאמרנו
Please have a seat. And we turn to page 442 in the Machzorim, or 19 in the virtual Machzor.
442 or 19 in the virtual Machzor.
לא הורית לנו לומר 13. God, you told us today to say and repeat your 13 attributes. זכור לנו היום ברית 13. כמו שידעת, הודעת לעניו מקדם, כמו שכתוב. וירד אדוני בענן, ויתייצב עמו שם, ויקרא בשם אדוני.
Please rise.
ויעבור אדוני על פניו, ויקרא.
Adonai, Adonai, El Rachum V'Chanun, Erech Apayim V'Rav Chesed V'Emet, Notze Chesed La'alafim, Nose Avon V'Fesha V'Chata V'Nakeh.
וסלחת לעווננו ולחטאתנו ונחלתנו. סלח לנו, סלח לנו, סלח לנו.
Adonai, Tosala.
Please be seated. It's fun singing with you guys. I haven't sang like this in a room with a lot of people in a long time. I'd like to introduce you once again to Jack here. Jack Klebanow. He runs our Nigunim Chevruta. I asked him to teach us a song that we're all going to sing. Some of you may know it. It's another one of these piyutim, these liturgical poems.
Shana Tova, everybody. Now it's your job. I'm going to teach, but you have to sing. Okay? Make me look good now, okay? You're all masked. We need to sing double strength. I'll sing it once. This is a song we're going to sing. You'll see it in your pamphlets. We call it Ya'aleh because it's about arising, but it's really about being awake for all parts of the day. The morning, first the evening, Ya'aleh, we arise in the evening, and then in the morning, and then in the late afternoon. The 3 times we pray. We wake and pray. Right? We'll sing this together, but let's start with the nigun. So, listen once. Sing that once. Come on. This is a spiritual exercise. It's embodied. It means you have to use your body. Come on. Yeah, beautiful. Listen. Right, so we answer from the beginning. Beautiful. Listen. I like the beginning. Now we wake up. A phrase has so much power. You know? It's so beautiful. Do it once. From the beginning. Here we go. Again. The true magic of a nigun is not the nigun, but the space and the quiet after. It's quite, I believe this is not something we do in our heads. This is something that happens in the air, in the body, in the physical space. The air changes by our singing. Let's do it again. Come on, loud, sing, breathe, part. Hi-yi-yi-yi, hi-yi-yi-yi. Try that. Hi-yi-yi-yi, hi-yi-yi-yi, hi-yi-yi-yi-yi-yi-yi-yi-yi. Hi-yi-yi-yi-yi-yi-yi-yi-yi. We went higher than we ever went, and we feel it. It's beautiful. Again. Hi-yi-yi-yi, hi-yi-yi-yi, hi-yi-yi-yi-yi-yi-yi-yi. Listen. Hi-yi-yi-yi, hi-yi-yi-yi, hi-yi-yi-yi-yi-yi-yi-yi. Hi-yi-yi-yi, hi-yi-yi-yi, hi-yi-yi-yi-yi-yi-yi-yi. Let's do the second part. Let's do the second part again. Hi-yi-yi-yi, hi-yi-yi-yi, hi-yi-yi-yi-yi-yi-yi-yi-yi. Hi-yi-yi-yi, hi-yi-yi-yi, hi-yi-yi-yi-yi-yi-yi-yi-yi. You do it now. Hi-yi-yi-yi. Come on, breathe. Hi-yi-yi-yi-yi-yi-yi-yi. Hi-yi-yi-yi, hi-yi-yi-yi, hi-yi-yi-yi-yi-yi-yi-yi. Let's do the whole thing. Hi-yi-yi-yi-yi-yi-yi-yi. Hi-yi-yi-yi-yi-yi-yi-yi. Hi-yi-yi-yi, breathe. Ya-ya-ya-ya. Hi-yi-yi-yi-yi-yi-yi-yi-yi. Hi-yi-yi-yi. Hi-yi-yi-yi. Hi-yi-yi-yi-yi-yi-yi-yi-yi. Hi-yi-yi-yi. Hi-yi-yi-yi. Hi-yi-yi-yi-yi-yi-yi-yi-yi. Yale tachunenu me'erev yavavo shavatenu miboker ve'yeraer rinunenu ad arev. Sing with me. Hi-yi-yi-yi, hi-yi-yi-yi, hi-yi-yi-yi-yi-yi-yi-yi. Only the lyric. Let's do it, Niguin. Hi-yi-yi-yi. Come on, sing, breathe. Hi-yi-yi-yi. Hi-yi-yi-yi. Come on, open up now. Hi-yi-yi-yi-yi-yi-yi-yi-yi. Hi-yi-yi-yi. Hi-yi-yi-yi. Hi-yi-yi-yi-yi-yi-yi-yi-yi. Hi-yi-yi-yi. Second part. Hi-yi-yi-yi. Hi-yi-yi-yi.
Toda, Jack. I'd like to invite Judy Mourner to lead us in a reading that we're going to read together. It's in here somewhere, on page 4, I believe. On page 4. This is going to be a responsive reading, so Judy is going to read most of it, but whatever you see in italics, that's for all of us to read.
Four Sentences on Opinions, 22nd Day, by Judith Molina. Differences of opinion about the impact of truth, about the speed of light, about the dietary rules, about the right to keep slaves, about inoculation, about human sacrifice, about wages of the workers, about the right word.
Have wounded us in our souls, covered the earth with sanguinary savors, and ruined our love.
Differences of opinion about the shape of rooftops, about the definition of the holy, about sexual practice, about the killing of the brother or the stranger, about killing the rats, about men's penetrating prerogative, about the gender of the cosmos, about fresh or rancid butter.
Have battered at our outstretched hands, caused weapons to be constructed, and made us miserable.
Differences of opinion about the name and the number of God, about the length of hair, beard, and hemline, about the meaning of the Mishnah, about the influence of the moon, about the hierarchical procedures, about salt.
Have embittered us. Come swiftly, O sweet reconciliation. We're on page 284 or page 16 on the online Machzor.
We're getting,
I'm sorry, page 281,
281.
page 15. Right. Please rise. Ashamnu, Bagadnu, Gazanu, Dibarnu Lofi, Hevinu, Hirshanu, Zadnu, Hamasnu, Tafalnu, Sheker, Yatnura, Kizavnu, Latnu, Maradnu, Niatnu, Sararnu, Avinu, Pashanu, Sararnu, Kishinu, Orev. Rashanu, Shichatnu, Tiavnu, Tainu, Tiatanu.
page 282. You can be seated if you like. Let's read these respectively. People on the stage will read one, and then people over there, you read the next one. Okay? I'll do the Hebrew ones, and then we'll start with the English. על חטא שחטאנו לפניך באונס וברצון, ועל חטא שחטאנו לפניך באימוץ הלב, על חטא שחטאנו לפניך בבלי דעת. For the wrong we did before you under coercion of our own free will.
And for the wrong we did before you by hardening our hearts.
For the wrong we did before you unintentionally.
And for the wrong we did before you through idle talk and meaningless resolutions.
For the wrong we did before you by using sex exploitatively.
And for the wrong we did before you in public and in private.
For the wrong we did before you knowingly and deceptively.
And for the wrong we did before you by offensive language.
For the wrong we did before you by oppressing another person.
And for the wrong we did before you by malicious thoughts.
For the wrong we did before you by promiscuity.
And for the wrong we did before you by confessing insincerely.
For the wrong we did before you by contempt for parents and teachers.
And for the wrong we did before you by violence.
For the wrong we did before you by failing to be true to our heritage, thus defaming your name in the world. And for the wrong we,
And for the wrong we did before you by unbridled passion. Yal kulam Elohai salichot salach lanu mechalanu kaper lanu.
על חטא שחטאנו לפניך בככה שוב חזב, we're on the next page 284, ועל חטא שחטאנו לפניך בחפת שוחד, על חטא שחטאנו לפניך בלצון. For the wrong we did before you by lying and deceiving.
And for the wrong we did before you by accepting bribes.
For the wrong we did before you by scoffing and mocking.
And for the wrong we did before you by speaking ill of other people.
For the wrong we did before you in our work.
And for the wrong we did before you in the foods we eat and the amount we drink.
For the wrong we did before you by refusing to be generous.
And for the wrong we did before you by being proud and haughty.
For the wrong we did before you in rejecting your authority.
And for the wrong we did before you in making harsh judgments on other people. Yal kulam Elohai salichot salach lanu mechalanu kaper lanu.
על חטא שחטאנו לפניך בצדיעת רע, ועל חטא שחטאנו לפניך בצרות עין, על חטא שחטאנו לפניך בקלות ראש. For the wrong we did before you by plotting against others.
And for the wrong we did before you by tormenting others.
For the wrong we did before you by dismissing serious matters with a joke.
And for the wrong we did before you by being
For
obstinate.
the wrong we did before you by running to do evil.
And for the wrong we did before you by gossiping.
For the wrong we did before you by swearing falsely.
And for the wrong we did before you by hating others without cause. Al kulam Elohai salichot salach lanu mechalanu kaper lanu.
For all our wrongs, O God of forgiveness, forgive us. Wipe the slate clean. Grant us atonement. Please rise. Linda, would you like to open the ark for us? Avinu Malkeinu is on page 285 or page 21 and 22 in the online Machzor. I'll say the Hebrew and you can repeat the English. אבינו מלכנו חטאנו לפניך.
Avinu Malkeinu, we have done wrong before you.
אבינו מלכנו אין לנו מלך אלא אתה.
Avinu Malkeinu, we have no sovereign except you.
אבינו מלכנו חדש עלינו שנה טובה.
Avinu Malkeinu, let this be a good year for us.
אבינו מלכנו הפר עצת אויבינו.
Avinu Malkeinu, destroy the power of every oppressor and adversary.
אבינו מלכנו כלה כל צר ומסטין מעלינו.
Avinu Malkeinu, destroy the power of every oppressor and adversary.
אבינו מלכנו כלה דבר וחרב ורעב ושבי ומשחית מבני בריתך.
Avinu Malkeinu, remove from all your children disease, war, famine, exile, and destruction.
אבינו מלכנו סלח ומחה לכל עוונותינו.
Avinu Malkeinu, forgive and pardon all our wrongdoing.
אבינו מלכנו החזירנו בתשובה שלמה לפניך.
Avinu Malkeinu, may we return to you in earnest repentance.
אבינו מלכנו שלח רפואה שלמה לכל עמך.
Avinu Malkeinu, send healing to all who are sick.
אבינו מלכנו כותבנו בספר חיים טובים.
Avinu Malkeinu, inscribe us in your book for a life of goodness.
אבינו מלכנו כותבנו בספר גאולה וישועה.
Avinu Malkeinu, inscribe us in the book of redemption and freedom.
אבינו מלכנו כותבנו בספר פרנסה וכלכלה.
Avinu Malkeinu, inscribe us in the book of sustenance.
אבינו מלכנו כותבנו בספר זכויות.
Avinu Malkeinu, inscribe us in the book of meritorious acts.
אבינו מלכנו כותבנו בספר סליחה ומחילה.
Avinu Malkeinu, inscribe us in the book of forgiveness and reconciliation.
אבינו מלכנו שמע קולנו חוס ורחם עלינו.
Avinu Malkeinu, listen to our voice, spare us, show us your compassion.
אבינו מלכנו קבל ברחמים וברצון את תפילתנו.
Avinu Malkeinu, accept our prayer with compassion and favor.
אבינו מלכנו פתח שערי שמיים לתפילתנו.
Avinu Malkeinu, open the gates of heaven to our prayer.
אבינו מלכנו נא אל תשיבנו ריקה מלפניך.
Avinu Malkeinu, do not turn us away empty from your presence.
אבינו מלכנו תהא השעה הזאת שעת רחמים ועת רצון מלפניך.
Avinu Malkeinu, let this hour be an hour of compassion and a time of acceptance in your presence.
אבינו מלכנו חמול עלינו ועל עוללינו וטפנו.
Avinu Malkeinu, show mercy to us and to our children.
אבינו מלכנו חננו ועננו כי אין בנו מעשים. עשה עמנו צדקה וחסד והושיענו.
Avinu Malkeinu, be gracious and respond to us, for we have too few good deeds. Act toward us with justice, tempered by love, and bring us salvation.
Avinu Malkeinu, Avinu Malkeinu, Avinu Malkeinu, חננו ועננו, כי אין בנו מעשים. עשה עמנו צדקה וחסד. עשה עמנו צדקה וחסד והושיענו. אבינו מלכנו, אבינו מלכנו, אבינו מלכנו, חננו ועננו, כי אין בנו מעשים. עשה עמנו צדקה וחסד והושיענו. אבינו מלכנו, אבינו מלכנו, אבינו מלכנו, חננו ועננו, כי אין בנו מעשים.
The Mourner's Kadesh is on page 289. And
Page 23 online. We're all standing. It's interesting.
if you'd like to stand, stand. If you'd like to sit, sit. If you're remembering someone in particular, bring them into the space. יתגדל ויתקדש שמי רבה.
Amen.
בעלמא דברה חירותי וימליך מלכותי בחייכון וביומכון ובחיי דכל בית ישראל בעגלה ובזמן קריב ואמרו אמן.
יהי שמי רבה מבורך לעולם ולעולמי עלמיה.
יהי שמי רבה מבורך לעולם ולעולמי עלמיה, יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל. שמי דקודשה בריחו. לעילה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה, תושבחתה ונחמתה, דאמירן בעלמה ואמרו אמן. יהי שלמה רבה מן שמיה, וחיים עלינו ועל כל ישראל, ואמרו אמן. עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל, ועל כל יושבי תבל, ואמרו אמן. Please be seated. We're going to close this evening with Judy's version of Adon Olam. And, but before she sings, I just wanted to thank you all for being here, really. And also to remind you that we're going to start tomorrow at 10 a.m. It's going to be special tomorrow. There's going to be, all kinds of things, but we're going to be joined by Minister Only Love, who we met at our Black Lives Matter Chevruta. She came to visit us. She's from the Interfaith Center of New York, and she's a very powerful, interesting person. She's going to try and help us think about the assignment that I gave you guys on a societal level. So she's going to be joining us. And before we hear from the minister, we're going to have a short play, which Talia and Hanan created for us. Where is Talia? There she is. Hi. Talia Feldberg put together a shadow piece that's going to accompany our Haftarah reading of Nehemiah tomorrow, as well as another one of those crazy Torah readings that we did last week. So all of that is tomorrow at 10. We wanted to do Ne'ilah on the pier, but it looks like it's going to be rainy, so we're going to be back here for Ne'ilah. I hope you join us. And with that, Susan, am I forgetting anything? No? Okay, I got the okay from Susan. Adon Olam.
Page 290. And the link online.
Right, there's a link online that you guys should be receiving.
Adon Olam, Asher Malach, בטרם כל יציר נברא לעת נשא וחצו כל עשי מלך שמו נקרא ואחרי ככלות הכל והוא הווה והוא יהיה
All right, you guys are still sitting. You guys want one more song? Oh my God. Thank you, everybody. We'll see you in the morning. Shana Tova.
Jonathan, take us home.
אשא עיניי אל הרים, מאין מאין יבוא עזרי. אשא עיניי אל הרים, מאין מאין יבוא עזרי. עזרי מעם השם עושה שמיים וארץ.
Da da da,